A Summer to Remember. Chapter 1. The First Meeting. It was one of those summer days where the heat hung thick in the air, yet the soft whispers of a breeze made it bearable. Emma had just moved to the small, sleepy town of Brooksville, where everyone seemed to know everyone else. The idea of starting fresh in a place where she didn't know a single soul was both exciting and terrifying at the same time. She missed her old life, the familiar faces, and the comfort of knowing her surroundings. But her parents had insisted on the move, thinking it would be a great opportunity for a new start. After a long morning of unpacking boxes and arranging furniture in her new room, Emma needed a break. She grabbed her phone and wandered out into the quiet town, her sneakers hitting the pavement with a soft rhythm. As she walked through the streets, her mind was full of thoughts about how she would ever fit in here. She wondered if she would ever make friends, or if she would always feel like the outsider. She found herself at a park near the center of town, sitting on a weathered bench under the shade of a tall oak tree. It was peaceful here, with only a few families strolling by and a couple of kids playing soccer in the distance. Emma sighed, feeling both lonely and out of place. It was then that she noticed him. A boy, maybe her age, was playing basketball with some friends near the court. He was tall, with messy brown hair that fell into his eyes and a wide, genuine smile. His laugh rang out through the air, drawing Emma's attention as she glanced at him. He had this infectious energy about him, the kind that made you feel like everything would be okay. For a second, their eyes met. Emma quickly looked down, suddenly self-conscious. She hadn't expected someone like him to notice her. But he did. After a few moments, the boy excused himself from the game and walked over to her with an easy, confident stride. His friends were still playing, but he seemed more interested in talking to her than in the game. "Hey," he said with a friendly grin. "You're new around here, aren't you?" Emma's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't used to strangers talking to her, especially not boys.
Yeah.
"Just moved here with my parents," she said, feeling awkward. "I thought so," he replied. "I'm Luke. Welcome to Brooksville." Emma looked up at him, a little surprised at how relaxed he was. He didn't seem to have a care in the world. "I'm Emma," she said, offering a small smile. "So, how are you finding it so far?" "The town, Luke asked, sitting on the edge of the bench. "It's quiet," Emma replied, shrugging. "It's a little weird, though. I don't really know anyone." Luke nodded sympathetically. "Yeah, I get that. It's not the biggest town, but people here are nice. You'll fit in." Emma smiled at his reassuring words. She wasn't sure if she believed him yet, but there was something comforting about the way he spoke. "Thanks," she said. "I hope so." They talked for a little while longer, chatting about school, their favorite music, and the things that made them happy. As the conversation flowed, Emma began to feel a little more at ease. Luke was easy to talk to, he didn't judge her, and he made her feel like she mattered, even though they had just met. Chapter 2. The Growing Friendship. As the days passed, Emma and Luke's friendship grew. Luke would often text her, asking how she was doing, or inviting her to join him and his friends at the local cafe or park. Emma, who was always a little shy and reserved, found herself looking forward to these small moments. They were simple hangouts, but they meant the world to her. One afternoon, Luke invited Emma to hang out with him and his friends at the park. They were planning to play a game of basketball, and Luke promised it would be fun. Emma, not being the most athletic person, hesitated at first. She had never been good at sports, and the thought of making a fool of herself in front of Luke and his friends made her nervous. But after a little encouragement from Luke, she agreed. "It's just for fun, right?" she asked, trying to sound confident. "Exactly," Luke said, his eyes sparkling. "No pressure. Just come and have fun." When they arrived at the basketball court, Emma immediately felt out of place. The guys were all tall and athletic, dribbling and shooting the ball with ease. She stood at the edge of the court, unsure of where she fit in. Luke noticed her hesitation and jogged over. "Don't worry," he said, smiling. "You don't have to play if you don't want to. Just hang out with us." Emma appreciated his kindness. She didn't want to let him down, but she didn't want to look ridiculous either. "Okay, maybe I'll just watch," she said, grateful for the option. But Luke shook his head. "No way. You're playing." Here, he said, tossing her the ball. Just try it. You won't be alone. Reluctantly, Emma took the ball. She had no idea what she was doing, but she threw it to Luke when it was her turn. To her surprise, they laughed about how bad she was, and Luke showed her a few basic moves. He made her feel like it didn't matter that she wasn't good. What mattered was that she was there. By the end of the game, Emma was smiling. She wasn't the best player, but she had enjoyed herself. Luke high-fived her, and she felt a rush of warmth spread through her. You did great, Luke said. You should come again next time. Emma felt her heart flutter. I will, she replied, smiling back. Chapter 3. The Confession. As summer moved forward, Emma found herself thinking about Luke more and more. What had started as a simple friendship was beginning to feel like something deeper. Every time she saw him, her heart raced. Every text from him made her smile. Emma realized, with a little bit of surprise, that she liked him, more than just a friend. But admitting it to him, especially out loud, felt terrifying. What if he didn't feel the same way? What if she ruined their friendship? One afternoon, when they were sitting by the lake, Luke looked at Emma in a way that made her stomach flip. The sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The air was cool, and there was a peaceful silence between them. Emma had always loved these quiet moments with Luke. They didn't need to fill the silence with words. But today, there was something different in the air. Emma, Luke said, his voice softer than usual. I've been thinking. I think we make a good team. You and me. You're different from anyone I've met. Emma felt her heart beat faster. What do you mean? She asked, her voice trembling. Luke took a deep breath and looked at her. I like you, Emma. I think I've liked you for a while now. More than just as a friend. For a moment, Emma's mind went blank. She hadn't expected him to say that. She had hoped, but hearing the words felt like a dream. I like you too, she whispered, barely able to believe it herself. Luke smiled, his eyes warm. I'm glad, he said. I just didn't know if you felt the same way. Emma felt a rush of relief and happiness. I do, she said, her voice growing more confident. And with that, Luke leaned in and kissed her softly on the lips. The world around them seemed to disappear, and all that mattered was the moment they were sharing. The kiss was sweet, gentle, and full of promise. Emma knew, in that moment, that her life was about to change forever. Chapter 4. The First Challenge. As the days turned into weeks, Emma and Luke's relationship deepened. They spent more time together, whether it was talking about their dreams, sharing secrets, or just being in each other's company. They started to learn more about each other, both the good and the not-so-good parts. But as summer began to wind down, Emma and Luke faced their first challenge. It wasn't something they could ignore, it was something that had been growing in the background, a pressure that was hard to shake off. Luke's friends didn't fully understand their relationship. They teased him about being too serious for his age, making jokes that made Emma uncomfortable. It wasn't mean-spirited, but it was clear that Luke's friends weren't used to seeing him with someone so deeply connected. One afternoon, Luke came to Emma, looking troubled. I don't want to lose my friends, but I also don't want to lose you. I don't know what to do, he admitted. Emma's heart ached for him. Luke, you don't have to choose. We'll figure this out together. I don't care what anyone else thinks. We're what matters. Luke smiled at her, relieved. You're right, he said. Thanks for being so understanding. And from that day on, they worked through the pressure from the outside world. Their love only grew stronger because they knew that what they had was worth fighting for. Chapter 5. The Future. As the summer came to a close, Emma and Luke were no longer just two teenagers figuring out what love meant. They had built something real, something strong. They had learned the value of trust, honesty, and compromise. They knew that their journey together had only just begun. Luke turned to Emma one evening as they stood at the edge of the lake, looking at the reflection of the stars. I think this is just the beginning for us, Emma, he said, his voice full of hope. Emma smiled, feeling the same way. I agree, she whispered. I'm ready for whatever comes next. Together, they walked into the future, hand in hand, knowing that their love was something special, something that would last forever.